Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tuplex. In the last episode, we set up a strand casting line to make solder coils, which is a more efficient way than making solder from tin plate, lead plate, and resin. Because particularly in this case, we don't need any resin, and we can make it from a combination of tin and zinc instead of tin and lead, which is a bit more efficient because we really don't have any use for zinc. The only use we have for zinc is in alloying other metals, basically. You know, we're using it to make some brass. We're using it to make brass. Am I making brass in two different places? Or no, this one is bronze. Okay. And then we have tin plate, which has very limited use. So this will allow us to use up some zinc, which is good. So the next step is to make some coolant that we can then take over to the smelting area, because it requires a cooling tower, or several cooling towers actually. And then we have to take the used coolant, we have to cool it down, and then we can recycle some of it back into fresh coolant. But we have to continuously add fresh coolant to it. And coolant is made from base mineral oil. And I can see here that fuel oil is backed up. So let's see if we have something useful we can make from fuel oil. Okay, liquid fuel. Not sure what we would use that for. Solid fuel. Okay, solid fuel is always useful. We can turn it into synthesis and residual gas, which I don't know that I need necessarily. And the rest of it is all military. All right, so let's see what liquid fuel is used for. Enriched fuel blocks, 100 megajoules. That's pretty nice. And what are those used for? Just for fuel. Okay, so we could turn it into enriched fuel blocks, which we could then use for making electricity, I suppose. So why don't we do that? Liquid fuel, enriched fuel blocks. All right, so let's set up something here real quick for enriched fuel blocks. Okay, and we'll use one of Angel's chemical plants, and we'll set this up just for one factory. And we need liquid fuel. And I want to make liquid fuel from fuel oil, which is going to need another chemical plant. Okay, so that seems easy enough. And then I'll just put the enriched fuel in a silo for now, and then we can send it out to our power plant, and then we'll use that instead of coke pellets as a priority. All right, so I need 2 chemical plants, and that way we can use some of this stuff up. All right, so I'm going to need to put a pump on the output here, so that I can control when I use it. And seeing, yeah, I don't really have any other use for it right now, so maybe I don't need to bother with the control, I don't think. We can always add the control circuit to it later. All right, So that'll go in there, and then that'll go in there. So this is going to make liquid fuel, and this is going to make the enriched fuel block, which is somewhere. There we go. 100 megajoules. That's pretty huge. All right, and then this gives us one. Oh, I'm sorry, this has to go by pipe. This is going to give us, okay, one every 12 seconds. So this is a rather slow process. Okay. All right. So that will allow some of these other processes to run so that we can continue to get more base mineral oil, since this was preventing this from continuing. Okay, so on to the coolant. Now the coolant just uses base mineral oil and water, and I already have water over here. Let me see, I don't recall what building. I assume it's another chemical plant that I need to make fresh coolant. Yeah, we can use chemical plants for that as well. So let's just get one chemical plant. I'm guessing that one is probably going to be enough. And I'll put this right there. There we go. All right. All right, and then water is going to come in here. Actually, let's bring this up one more. Whoops. Like this. Okay. All right. And now we're making coolant. Now, how do we get the coolant from here? And what I want to do is I want to put it over here where I have the barrels for sulfuric acid. So I could either pump it way down there, or I could do what I think I prefer to do, which is to use bots to carry it down there. And I might need a lot of bots to do that. Although I don't think I'm going to be burning through it very quickly. So let's try it with bots. And if it doesn't work, then we can do... Oh no, I don't want that. Then we can do pumps or something else. All right, so I need a barreling pump. Okay, and we're going to make coolant barrels. Let's see, I think I have RoboPort. I wonder if I can make... Is there a Mark II RoboPort? There is. I can't make it though. I'm missing batteries and some kind of plate that I don't recognize. Invar plate, yeah, which I'm not making. So, all right. So these will have to be plain Jane roboports. I suppose I should put the first roboport close by. So let's put that one there. And then I want to work my way over. Okay, good. So that links up those networks. All right, and then we'll need a requester chest, requesting empty barrels. And I'm going to request, say, 100. And let's do stack inserters. In and out. And then that'll go into a provider chest. And we'll limit that, of course. And we'll limit that to, let's say 400. Now let's say 800. All right, so we'll request 400 empties. Okay. So now I just need to get the empty barrels available on the logistics network. Let me make a couple more of those roboports. So I'm going to need to get this network extended all the way over to those train stations. Looks like there's already a path down here, which I can continue to extend this way. I'm going to have to move it down a bit though, so it doesn't interfere with our power plant. Actually, that's where a path is supposed to go, but I don't think I'm going to use that path anymore. Yeah, and actually I can pick up all of this now because I'm not making barrels here anymore. And this big line of steel plate is kind of pointless now. Okay, although I could... No, okay. Sorry, momentary confusion. Yeah, what I'm trying to do now is... get empty barrels. All right, and then I'm going to need one more roboport, which I can put up here. Oh, and I need one down there too. That's where the empty barrels are. Yeah, okay. So I'll have to do a couple of these. So I'll put one there, and then I'll put one up here. All right. And then I'm going to change these to requester warehouses. And I need steel and white circuit boards. Let me get out my car. All right, so here's some steel. And white circuit boards are down here. All right, there's another requester warehouse. And then I need a couple provider chests for the empty barrels. There we go. And we're requesting 400. So let's increase that to 800. All right. And then we put the other requester warehouse here. And there's a little bit of carbon in there for some reason. Okay. So this is sulfuric, limestone, and this is also going to be coolant. All right, and then we just set a request for coolant barrels. And we'll make that 800. Actually, let's make it 400 each. All right, I'm going to tell my train to come over here. All right, so let's see if this is working yet. All right, well, it's still waiting for the barrels. And it seems like those are going to take a little bit to get there. Yeah, so this is definitely not a low latency network we have going on here. Yeah, and even the slow bots can only carry 10 at a time because the stacks are so small. So I hope that we don't use so much coolant that this is going to become a problem. But again, if it does become a problem, we will, we'll build another train station, or we'll use belts or something like that. We'll figure something out. Okay. So we got some barrels going here. All right. Now, what is our provide threshold is 200. So this isn't going to go until we have at least 200 barrels of coolant. Yeah, and I have a lot of logistics bots in the network. So it's just a matter of the travel that is the issue. Okay. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to pick up all of the coolant barrels that are in here, and I'm going to take those over just to sort of jumpstart the process. All right, so I've got 16 barrels of coolant, and then at least that way I'll be able to see if it actually works. Okay, so let's go over to, yeah, we can go to smelting coolant. All right. That's it. Okay. So there's coolant there now. So now we just have to feed these with zinc and tin. And I think that's what we've got here, right? Tin and zinc, yeah. So we'll just use a couple of splitters. Actually, I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like that either. Should be like this. There. That way they stay on the same path in case we need to extend these belts further down. Okay, now in this case, I'm going to use a pair of yellow loaders going into each. All right, so the first one can be the tin. And then the other one will be the zinc. Oops. Just use yellow belts. Okay. And it's producing. This appears to be working. Okay, so now we need the ceramic filters That's the next step, the final step. All right, so we're getting the solder coils, which is very nice. Let's see how we're doing on coolant. We've got about 100 barrels now. Yeah, I think what would be better, in fact, maybe it would be better if I just pump the mineral oil over here. I think I'll do that. But first, let's set up the ceramic filters. All right, now 2, 3. My experience from C block tells me that we need a barrel, or that we need chests for this to work. All right, so a clean ceramic filter. Oh, okay. So I only have to make these once. And now I have a use for the purified water. And I hope that this is going to be a self-replicating process, or a self-supporting process. Now, I thought I was putting alumina into chests. All right. Let's do that. All right. Okay, so we got 72 ceramic filters on the way. So it looks like we can take the spent ceramic filter, clean it with purified water, and then get a fresh filter, which is good because the coal filters require continuously adding more coal to it. And this way it seems like we would have a self-sustaining loop. All right, so let's try this. 1, 2. No, I want 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. All right. So this is going to be a ceramic filter from a spent ceramic filter. It's going to take purified water as an input, which we have right there. And then I'm going to put 2 chests. And one is for the spent filters coming out. And the other is for the fresh filters going in. I'll put that there. And what else do I need here? I think I just need to put the filters in. Yeah, there we go. And now we're reusing coolant. Okay. Yeah, and it looks like we're making enough water to take care of that. Let me get a I just don't want it to overflow. I don't know if it will. Let's see, how much steam do I get from these? I'm going to get 50 steam each time. So that's 150 steam, which is going to give me 150 purified water, which is enough for 3 filters. And I need 1 filter for every 100 coolant. Yeah, so I think this is going to give me... I think this is going to give me more water than I can use. Which means that it's going to be backed up and then it's going to stop working. Wait a minute, wait a minute. Products, 100 coolant, 100 used coolant in and 100 used coolant out. 100 used coolant in and 100 used coolant out. Okay, and then this takes 100 used coolant in and gives me 80 used 80 fresh coolant out. Yeah, so I do lose coolant over time. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to need an overflow valve to clarify the extra water. Here we go. There's an overflow valve. Put that right there. And put the clarifier. Nope. Right there. There we go. All right, so that way whatever we don't use for the filter process, we will clarify. Okay, so I got plenty of filters. I just need more doggone coolant. Let's see how we're doing here. What? I still have... Oh, yeah. There's 14 barrels of coolant. How is that possible? That doesn't seem right. Oh, okay. Yeah, good. My train is blocking. Okay, let me get out of the way. Hang on. Off you go. There we go. Wonderful. Okay. Awesome. So now we're making coils, and a lot of them. Looks like we're starting to run low on tin, though. That's okay. All right, so is one of these coolant setups enough? Let's see. Let's use our tool here. We are making 60 used coolant per second. And this takes 100 per second. So yeah, one column of these cooling towers is enough to handle these two machines. All right, that's pretty cool. Now the production of coolant is still painfully slow, so I think we need to improve that. While I'm here, though, before I move on, I had a suggestion to change the recipe that we're using for bronze. To the one that uses copper, nickel, and tin instead of copper, zinc, and tin. And the reason for that was that we don't have any other use for nickel besides this, apparently. I think it's also used for Invar plate, if I'm not mistaken, but generally my understanding is that there's very little use for nickel in the game. So I'm just going to change this to use nickel instead. Now I am not yet making nickel ore. So or nickel ingots. So let's see what it takes to do that. All right. And I think I'm just going to do them in... the least efficient way possible, so that we can use up as much nickel as we can. All right, so let's calculate this for one machine. Actually, that's all I need is just nickel and carbon monoxide. What can I make carbon monoxide from? Carbon and purified water. Jeez, more purified water. There never seems to be an end to the need for purified water. Okay, so we'll make it from that, which means we need one chemical plant. So one chemical plant, one blast furnace, and then we should be good to go. All right, so there's our blast furnace and chemical plant. There we go. All right, and I will put it down here actually, since I don't currently have any other place to put or anything else to go underneath the brass column. Just have to find the appropriate center point, which I guess would be right there. Is that right? Yep. That looks good. All right, nickel. And we're going to make this from nickel and carbon monoxide. And the carbon monoxide we are going to make... Whoops. I already had one of those. Yeah, from carbon and purified water. All right, so what's my... Oh, well... my closest source of purified water. Do I want to buffer this? Yeah, I think I will buffer this into a tank with a pump. And I'll leave a little space here. Whoops, where's my chemical plant? Here we go. All right, carbon monoxide. Okay, that looks fine. And then we can use carbon to fuel this as well. We happen to have some carbon here already. Coming from here, I suppose I will continue to draw from this line. Okay. Okay, so we got carbon there, we got carbon here. Now we just need to get water. Actually, I'll use the brass pipes for that, since we got a long run here. Or a longer run. Let's see. Right, so what I want to do is move that overflow valve a bit. Yeah, let's go over this way actually. All right. Now I don't know. Yeah, looks like I'm getting. Yeah, looks like this is. Looks like this is plenty of water. Plenty of water to do both tasks. Then again, maybe not. Well, we'll have to wait and see. In any case, I'm accumulating some carbon monoxide. All right, so here we're going to have the nickel plate. And I'll just put it into a silo. Smaller than a warehouse because I don't think I need quite as much of it. And I'll limit this. There. Okay, and then we just need to get the nickel ore up there. And nickel ore is in here. And currently not yet tapped. Alright, so this is nickel ore. Finally have a job for you. I think I'll cut it through here. This is really messy. Okay. And then we can turn north here, I suppose. Okay. And we're off to the races. Okay. So now we have a use for nickel ore. I have a lot of leftover zinc ingots that I want to get rid of. I'm just going to have to put these back in the tank or in the silo. What are we making here? Brass. Why is... Oh, okay. Seems like that's almost full. Just double check. Brass plate. Oh, I said 40K. Yeah, it's almost full. Yeah, I've got 20,000 of each. Sort that. Yeah, good. And they're still only about half full. So there's no danger filling those up. Okay, and this is continuing to run at not such a high rate. But it's going, and we seem to have plenty of coolant available. All right, yeah, it looks like it's the tin that is the bottleneck on this particular process. But in any case, it's running, so I'm happy about that. From the last episode, you could tell that I was ready to abandon the idea of using coolant a couple of times. But I'm glad I stuck with it because I think it's good to have this set up. And in fact, if I'm going to be doing more strand casting, and I'm not sure if I will or not, but if I do more of it, then I'll probably want to set up a larger coolant processing setup somewhere else in this area that can feed multiple machines, because I don't want to have to duplicate this everywhere that I use it. But for now, that seems to be working okay. So I think the next thing that I need to do is start making the coolant barrels closer to the pickup point, because this is just too slow. We've got, oh, well, there's almost 200 in here again, so I don't know. What have we got here? Oh, okay. Yeah, and I've got plenty of extra coolant barrels here. So I guess maybe we're okay. I'll leave it alone for now so that we can work on more important things. Checking our to-do list. We still have to get plates over to the main base, so I think we'll work on that next time. Salination plants I've got. I still want to upgrade the ore and deal with the wastewater. So now that we've got these little distractions out of the way, I think we'll get back to our to-do list and get to work on those. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Appreciate it as always. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.